Hello, everybody. Welcome to our junior info session. I'm so glad you're here. I'm already recording, and I am going to put the slides in the chat. So you'll have access to the recording on our YouTube page if you need to go back and watch anything, or if you need to leave early. And you have access to the slides there now because those are in the chat. So with that, I'm gonna dive right in because it's 6:01 and we have a lot to talk about. So let me go ahead and jump into slideshow mode. Okay. So yeah, tonight is junior info night. If you aren't already thinking about college, you will be in about 3 minutes. So, um, and you'll be thinking about all kinds of things you can be doing to get ready for those college applications by the time we're done. I kind of catchphrase this webinar as the top 5 items for every 11th grader to be thinking about or doing this spring. By the time we're done, you're going to be thinking, she lied. This is not 5 things, this is a lot more. I break it down into 5 major topics. Um, and there's just options within those. So I'm not lying. There are 5 kind of major areas that you can be thinking about and doing things in. Um, you don't have to do it all right now, but if you want to get the ball rolling, you can. And there are some things you should be doing right now. We'll talk about it. If we haven't met before, my name is Allison Stipe. I am a college and career counselor with Baker Early College. And the best ways to get a hold of me are right here. So my email address is right there. I am the one running our Instagram page, so you can DM me in there. I also have office hours every Thursday in our work study space. So you can always hop in there and ask me questions. So there's plenty of ways to track me down after this if you have questions. We'll save time for some questions at the end too. Okay. Okay. So what are these top 5 to-dos? Those big broad categories. Number 1, exploring your interests and possible careers. 2, starting to explore what your college fit might be and what colleges you might want to put on your list to apply to. Number 3, taking an entrance exam. Yes, those are still a thing and important. And number 4, starting to prepare some of those other application elements. I lump those ones all together because they're less urgent than the taking the entrance requirement, the entrance exam. Okay. Okay. Oh, that was 4. Here's 5. Counting is easy. Making a plan to pay for college, because all of this is moot if you don't have a way to pay for it. And that can feel really overwhelming. So we're going to talk about kind of those first steps to how to make a plan for paying for college. Okay. Okay. So number 1, exploring your interests and careers. I put this as number 1, and it's actually kind of the longest section on here, because it's so important. Um, as a college and career counselor, find it um, tricky when students are just jumping onto the conveyor belt of college rather than exploring whether a bachelor's degree is really what they want or what they need. Um, Going to college without knowing what you're going to do with the degree that you're working hard and paying a lot of money to earn, um, is just unwise. And so it's really important to understand what you want to do after college by exploring these interests and careers, before just jumping straight into, okay, yeah, I'm going to college and I just know that I want to. So backing up a little bit. It's also going to do wonders for your college applications if the admissions counselors are seeing that you are very intentionally exploring your interests now, and they can see that um, before you go to college. I talked to an admissions counselor one time who said really what he's looking for on college applications is the answer to these questions. What do you value? And how would I know that based on how you spend your time? And so really diving into that for yourself. What do I value? What do I love? What am I interested in? And doing something about it, spending time on that. In like tangible ways, not just like watching YouTube videos about it. Because unfortunately, you can't put that on your college apps. So one of the best ways to do this is just through extracurricular activities, especially if you can gain some leadership roles in whatever extracurriculars you're doing. Um, to not only just take on more responsibility within that thing, which looks great, but also to learn more about it and be more of a leader within it. Um, okay, so basically, if you haven't joined a club yet, if you haven't done volunteer work yet, like these are things, it might be a little late to join a sport at this point, but don't rule anything out. Um, Basically, what can you be doing right now to, yeah, explore your interests kind of with the super low stakes, like curriculars. We're going to talk about volunteering in a minute. But yeah, what are you already doing that you could do more of? What clubs could you join that you haven't joined yet? If you are a dual enrolled student, you can join clubs at your community college. Um, and so that's an option. We have student clubs through collab chats, is what we call them. But it's kind of another way of saying you're in a club, you're part of a collab chat. So we offer those as well. So reach out to your advisor, your counselor, if you are like, shoot, I want to join a club and I haven't done it yet. They can help you find the right path to that. Um, Internships and job shadowing. This is going to sound a little more intimidating than extracurriculars, but it's an even more tangible way to explore your interests and possible careers. Um, what is an internship? I get this question a lot, like how is that different than just a regular job or do I have to do schoolwork alongside of it? So, as a high school student, an internship, basically think of it as kind of a short-term work experience. There's going to be, 1 month to 6 months, maybe somewhere in that range. Um, so it's going to be a set time frame. They're going to expect you to be a student and to be learning, especially learning about this field. They're not going to expect you to be like an employee. You may or may not get paid for the time you spend on an internship. It's more about learning than it is about like working and getting paid. So you get to do things hands-on and learn alongside somebody in a really cool way. So if you can find an internship which there are internships available for 16-year-olds and older, they're harder to find than internships for 18-year-olds and older, like college students. Um, but they're out there. We'll talk in a second about how to find them. Job shadowing is way less of a commitment. Sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's a few days, sometimes it's a few hours. But it's an opportunity to basically shadow somebody, follow somebody around who does a job that you're interested in. Um, so for example, like I'm in Central Oregon, so we have our Central Oregon kind of hub for radiology, like medical imaging, sonography, x-rays, those kinds of things. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go to Cora. If you live in Central Oregon, maybe you know what that is. And they have a whole job shadowing like program. It's a day where they allow you to follow different professionals around, an ultrasound tech, an x-ray tech, right? And you get to watch what they do and ask them questions and get a feel for what it's like to do that work. So job shadowing opportunities are plentiful. You're not really asking a whole lot of somebody other than to hang out and maybe ask them some questions. And so most people will say yes to that. If you click on these links, there'll be a little more info, especially this job shadowing link has this awesome guide on how to ask a company or an organization whether you can job shadow there, which I love. They have like a whole email template. But yeah, both of these are great ways to get some experience, some insight from local employers in the working in the fields you're interested in. Don't be afraid to reach out to professionals in your area. You can, I know the word cold call or just call in general is intimidating. Um, but if you make yourself a little script, so let's say are interested in being a florist and you want you're wondering if you can job shadow or maybe even intern with a florist in town. Um, so write out a little script for yourself or even Google you know, templates for asking for an internship. Um, and and write out what you want to say and what you want to ask. And you don't have anything to lose. If it goes badly, you never have to see them ever. If they say no, then you say, okay, thank you for your time. And so I really encourage, yeah, not being afraid to make cold calls or sending emails directly to people to ask them about these opportunities. You can search on websites like Indeed. Just make sure you're typing in criteria like intern or internship and your age, like 16 years old, 17 years old. Um, to weed out because it'll say explicitly usually in the job description or in the internship description it'll say like for 16 years and older. So just make sure to weed out there'll be a lot of internships you're not eligible for as somebody who's under 18. So just keep that in mind that you're searching for the right thing. Okay. Okay, I'm bringing it back to volunteer work because it is like the best low stakes way to explore some interests, gain some skills, and give back to your community. It's like this huge application booster. It opens the door for scholarships. Like if you have not done volunteer work yet, um, go and look for some opportunities to do this. I have an Instagram post. You can click here to see it. If you swipe through, I give ideas for volunteer opportunities based on some career examples. So, or career industries. So, for example, if you're interested in maybe becoming a therapist or a counselor, there's an organization in Oregon that links up peer counseling and gives you some training. So you have the opportunity to learn counseling skills, practice counseling skills, and get volunteer hours all at once. So you get a feel for like, do I like how this feels? Do I feel good when I'm doing this work? So you're exploring this potential career field and doing it through volunteer work. So with volunteer work, usually the commitment is going to be very low. It's not going to be like we expect you to work 20 hours a week. It's usually much lower than that and a shorter time frame. So, you can do it for a weekend or a, a term, whatever feels good to you and whatever that volunteer opportunity provides. Okay. So yeah, don't sleep on volunteer work. Okay. The last one I'm going to mention, like ways to explore this tangibly, your interests, is going to be through the classes you're taking. You guys, as Baker early college students, have such a cool opportunity to take higher level coursework, intro to classes that regular high school students don't have the opportunity to. So if you have some elective credits to fill and you think you might be interested in graphic design, like please go take an intro to graphic design class. Your college offers them if you're enrolled at it. So go, 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 go. Because it's gonna, again, give you a feel of whether you're actually into what the work of graphic design is. And if you don't like intro to graphic design, you're probably not going to want to get a whole degree in it, right? Or maybe you love it and you're like, yes, this just confirms. So meet with your advisor. You're going to meet with them hopefully in May to plan out senior year. Um, and so be talking to them constantly about what classes you can take to explore those interests. Um, if if you're not doing dual enrollment, maybe see if there's dual credit options that we offer, but just talk to your counselor about it. This is a really great way to get insight, not just into, am I interested in this field, but am I interested in this kind of coursework? Because again, if you're going to go get a major in something, let's make sure you like the intro to class first. Okay. Um, I'm going to do a whole webinar series next term about a lot of this. What I'm about to talk about. This is, if you've ever seen this before, this is called a Holland Code or a RISEC. So if you want to just go, this is not like a super tangible way to like get experience learning about your interests, but if you're like, I don't even know where to start, I have no idea what I want to do after high school. And I just need some ideas. I love Big Future. Big Future is one of my favorite resources to send high schoolers to for searching for careers, searching for scholarships, searching for colleges. Like they just have so many good resources. You're going to see me mention them again later. Um, so I have a link right here to take this. It's an interest inventory, and it's going to ask you questions about would you be interested in doing these things or those things? Yes, no, maybe. So you can take this little quiz, learn, kind of get an idea for what your RIASEC code is, which are these things. Are you realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, conventional? Um, It'll give you a lump probably of 3 letters, 2 or 3 letters. And based on those 2 or 3 letters, you can do some research. So for example, let's say you're like an SAI, like you're social, artistic, and investigative. Then it's going to give you career ideas based on that SAI code. So that you might be interested in. Big Future is going to give you some career ideas. And I love this link too to ONET. They also have a way to search by RISEC codes, Holland codes. So yeah, if you're just like, I don't know at all, you're not alone. I've talked to so many juniors who are like, I have no idea what I want to do. That's okay. This is your time to start exploring that. And this is like a baby step to doing that. If you want to know more about figuring out what you want to do after high school, we'll talk next term during that webinar series I mentioned. Okay. Here's some more just research links. So these aren't like assessments or anything. This is more like you do have some ideas of careers you're interested in and you just want to know more about them. Like I love the Occupational Outlook Handbook because you can search by careers and get a really simple breakdown about the education that's required for those careers, what skills are needed, what you could expect your salary to be. Just that like basic information that's helpful to get a snapshot of. Um, you can get through really both of these. If you are more interested in skilled trades work, I love this Oregon Apprenticeship website to get some ideas on what skilled trades are out there and how to pursue those. Okay. So that's that. I told you that's like the longest section, just because I think it is so important for you guys to, yeah, be thinking first and foremost, what kind of career do you want to explore and pursue? after high school is done? Because if you can answer that, then you're going to be able to better answer questions like where do I want to go to college? And your applications are going to look a lot stronger if you have a clear vision for what you want to do and why. Okay. So focus first on if you're like, done, I've known what I want to do since I was 12. I'm so happy for you. That's excellent. Let's talk about finding your college fit. Khan Academy has this great resource. I love Khan Academy. They have this little course almost where you can get an understanding of like the basics behind how to choose a college. What are the types of colleges that are out there? Here, I'll just click on this link and give you a little preview. Oh, no, that's the wrong link. Let me go. I'm so glad I clicked on that. I don't have it linked on here. Okay, I'll fix that. I'm so glad I clicked on that. Come back to this slideshow tomorrow and that link will be fixed. Um, but they have, a series of little modules where you can get a basic understanding of what is college? What are the differences between colleges? What do I even start to think about and look for when I'm putting together my college list? And doing that is going to prepare you for that link that I had up here, which should be here, to go, what do you know, to Big Future. I told you I'd bring it back up. Big Future has this resource. It's a lot of website. Oh, they're just flip-flopped. Here's the Khan Academy class. Okay. So they're just switched. Here's the college search tool at Big Future. So you can take a little quiz about what you're looking for in a college, and it'll give you some ideas. But if you want a little more control than that, and you can search by majors, by location, like how far away from home are you willing to be, or what region of the US do you want to be in? So you can search by all these different criteria and it's going to give you a list of colleges that meet that criteria. And then you can click through them and learn more about them. You can change up the criteria and really start to get an idea of some colleges that meet your checklist. Let's say you want a small school by the beach that offers a degree in English education because you want to be an English teacher. That was me. Here's my college that I went to. Do you see the ocean right there? This is Point Loma University, Nazarene University in San Diego. So there's my alma mater. Um, so that's what I really wanted. I wanted a really small school. I wanted a school. I went to a private school. I wanted to go to a private school that had a mission that I valued and would create a sense of community that I aligned with. And you just think through like what's really important to me in a college experience. They had a very specific major that I wanted that the other schools on my list didn't offer. It was just the right distance away from home, right? So like all these things that you think about when you're thinking about, yeah, what you're hoping for and looking for. Um, if you're really unsure, so let's say you like do this course and you like start to look at criteria and you're like, I still just don't even know. Like, maybe you've never even been on a college campus. Um, I love this resource right here called the College Tour. They have episodes. It's a TV show. I think it's available on like Amazon Prime. So it's a TV show, but you can watch the episodes on their website and each episode is a college. So I would go through there and maybe pick out a few, like pick out a big state school and watch the video and get a vibe for what's a big state school like a big public school like. And then what's a smaller school like? Or what's public versus private, big versus small, like what feels different about those college experiences based on watching a few of those episodes. And that's going to give you hopefully a pull. Hopefully you'll like be like, oh, that's not for me, or oh my gosh, yes, that's like looks just right. Maybe it's not that specific school, but it's just that again, that vibe that you're like, okay, I think I want like a big school with lots of opportunities and lots of events and like lots of lots of everything. Big schools have a lot of opportunity, a lot of networking, a lot of yeah, just a lot. There's a lot to love about a big school. I just happen to pursue a small school. There's no right answer across the board. There's a right answer for you. Okay. Um, if you want to get a real hands-on experience, like on the boots on the ground at a school that you're interested in, preview days are one of the best ways to either solidify that you really want to apply to a school or like weed it out. So this is like one step further than going on a tour and like touring the campus. This is this is an event put on by the school. Sometimes it's a preview weekend and you get to stay on campus. Sometimes it's just a preview day and you go for the day and can eat in the cafeteria and sit in on some classes and, meet with some students who are there and ask them lots of questions and really get a feel for like a day in the life of the school. So go on their websites and look up preview days, open house, visit days, like just try different criteria and see if anything pops up. If it's a school that you need to travel to, sometimes they even have like scholarships available to help you pay for your travel to get there. So you can always reach out to the admissions office and check with them. But these are such great ways to really dive deep and see. Okay, yeah, this college is definitely on my list, or like, that wasn't for me. I'm gonna take that one off my list. So I just want to give a plug for preview days. Okay, so let me back up here. When we're talking about making your college list, right now there's no, people often ask me like how many colleges should be on my list? How many colleges should I apply to in the fall? Um, that number, I'd say eventually should whittle down between somewhere between maybe 5 and 10. Um, there's no right answer for that either. Sometimes students apply to three, and that feels like plenty to them. Um, Sometimes students apply to more. I usually don't recommend more than 10. 10 is a lot. It gets expensive, it gets time consuming, but you can do it. But usually around somewhere around 5, 6. A couple reach schools, a couple what I would call match schools, and a couple safety schools, um, just to keep doors open potentially across the board. Um, so when I say a reach school, like a school that might be tricky for you to get into based on your GPA. And extracurriculars and all that. Um, a match school being like, yep, I feel pretty confident that I could get in there. And then a safety school being like, I definitely will get in. So yeah, two of each is usually good. But for now, just have fun exploring. If you create a login on Big Future and you start making a college list, and then you go back and you revise that college list in the fall, you're actually going to be entered into little scholarship sweepstakes. It's part of why I love Big Future. So there's another just reason to like go save schools to your list. You can always whittle them down later, but for now, you're just adding things that you're excited about that look fun or interesting and you want to learn more about. Okay. Okay. If you are going to go to college, if you're going to apply to a school in the fall, I just want to give a shout out to entrance exams. This has changed a lot in the last 5 years since COVID. Uh, Entrance exams, SAT and ACT used to be absolutely required for every college applicant, unless you were a transfer student, which you guys are not going to be. You're going to be first year students, even though you have college credits. Um, so it would have been absolutely required at every school to take the ACT or SAT. Then nobody required it because of COVID. And now some schools require it, some schools don't. So if schools don't require it, like why would you even take it? Here's why. It's going to enhance your application. The only time it's not going to enhance your application is if you score like well below the average admitted student score at that college, or if you or if the school is test blind and they're literally it's called test blind. They're not even gonna look. If you they don't even let you send it in. They're like, we don't want to know, don't tell us. So some schools are test blind. Oregon public schools are test optional. Um, let's see, is it the UC schools that are test blind? So everyone's changing their policies all the time. So you have to check and see at the school in schools that you're interested in. But it's one of the reasons why I say just take it because you might end up adding a school that does either require it or they're test optional and they will look at it. And if you have it, it will look good. And so just prepare for the unknown. Just take the exam and have that score in your back pocket to send into a school if and when you want to or need to. Um, there's also still some potential to earn scholarships based on your SAT or ACT scores. So, like a college may not require you to take the SAT or ACT to get into their school, but they might offer you more scholarship money if you score really well. So, again, there's just like a handful of reasons that just point toward take it. Just take it. So if I were to break down, it can feel overwhelming, especially if you're like, wait, I didn't think I had to. Three simple steps. Okay. First, you're just going to choose which test you want to take, the SAT or the ACT. If you click here, it's going to give you the world's simplest breakdown of the differences between the SAT and the ACT, and basically which one you should take based on your skill sets. Are you a fast test taker or a slow test taker? Are you better in English and language arts or math? Are you, like, and it will nudge you toward the answer of SAT or ACT. Okay. So go ahead and just register now. Um, and then make a study plan. I don't encourage you to wait until the fall. You can, like if it's very early fall, like August or September, but if you're going to apply, especially if you're going to apply to Ivy Leagues, you need to take the SAT or ACT. You need to have that score early because those deadlines are early if you're going for really most colleges too with just if you're going to do early apps, early decision, early action, you just need those scores ready to go. So if you need some help studying, which who doesn't, and you want to get some practice with what the questions are like, these are some tools you can use. This Khan Academy tool, hey, another Khan Academy plug. They've partnered with the makers of the SAT College Board, and and will create that you get to take a little preview test. And then based on that, they're going to make a study plan for you. And it's going to be questions that are going to look almost identical to the actual SAT. So I love that resource. But I have options for you here. Um, I just got a question in the chat. Do I recommend the SAT or the ACT more? Again, it really depends like on you and how you test and what your strengths are. So click on this link right here. I guess I need to make sure my links are working. Now I'm or I'm questioning myself. Okay, yeah. Um, so you can even take a little um, little quiz here to help you decide, but they also break it down here. And so basically read through this, and if you read through this, you're going to have a clearer idea for yourself of what to um, which one to go with, SAT or ACT. Okay, and then go take your exam. And if you score at or higher than the average admitted student, which you can find on online, that info, that data is usually public, um, then send it in. It's only going to boost your application. They're going to see you went above and beyond. If it's test optional, you went above and beyond. You took the test when you didn't have to. It's indicating that your score is indicating that you can hang at this college. And so it's going to give you bonus points. So yeah, definitely follow through, take the test. Um, I'm getting another question here. If a student has an AOT, which a lot of you do, you will graduate with your AOT, and you apply to four-year school. Why are you still considered a first-year student? This is one of the most common questions that I get. So you are going to still be a first-year student because those college credits were earned while you were in high school. So you're going to apply for college. You're going to apply to college as a first year student. So like when you click a new application, they're going to ask you, are you a first year student or a transfer student? You're going to click first year student because your classes, again, your college classes were taken as a high school student. Once you're admitted, you're still going to tell them too in your application, like, yes, I took college classes. Here are all the college classes that I took. Um, so it's not like you have to hide your college classes. Like you're going to show them that you took those college classes. You're still going to be considered a first year student in their eyes. And then if you're accepted and you go to that school, you're enrolled, then they're going and you send in your college transcripts, like your official college transcripts to them. They're going to matriculate those college transcripts, transfer your classes to your credits to their school. And that is when, as an enrolled student, you'll probably bump up to maybe sophomore standing or junior, if you have your AOT, junior standing, probably, right? So you guys get the best of both worlds. It's actually really cool because there's more scholarship money available to first year students. And so you'll get probably better scholarship money. But at the same time, once you're there and you're enrolled, you're going to get credit for the classes that you took. So you get better financial aid and you have to take fewer classes to get that bachelor's degree. It's pretty cool. Great question from Maggie here. As far as the SAT and ACT go, do colleges think one is better than the other? No, they don't. Um, they're scored differently and they understand how they're scored and they're just going to see the ACT for the ACT and the SAT for the SAT. So, no, they're they are what they are. I think one other thing to keep in mind when you're deciding SAT versus SAT is which tests are available in your area when you want to take it. So here's the upcoming test dates for the spring and kind of summer. So not kind of summer, July is summer. Um, so the SAT has a couple dates coming up. The ACT does too. The SAT will probably also have a test available in August. Um, so stay tuned or just go check their website. Maybe they already have it up there. Um, so these are the tests that these dates are available. No, these are the dates, yeah, that the tests are available. But not every test and date is going to be offered at a testing location near you. So go on their websites. If you Did I not have the links? Oh yeah, I do right here. So go on their websites, click up, up on the SAT and the ACT, click around, search for testing locations by date, and yeah, that might help you narrow it down too. So keep that in mind as you're registering. Okay, I think I saw another question in the chat, which I can't get back to right now. Let's see. Where'd you go, Zoom? I might have to come back to it. If you need a test fee waiver, like if you qualify for free and reduced lunch, there's a chance that you might not have to pay to take the SAT or the ACT. And so if you're a part of Baker Early College, you can reach out to our principal, Kate Saldana. If you're part of Baker Web Academy, you have a form right here that you can complete. So yeah, just one less expense. Applying for college can be expensive. You're paying for SAT fees, you're paying for application fees, which those also sometimes can be waived. But yeah, it can add up. Okay. I'm gonna take a drink of water and I'm going to see if I can. There we go. Mm, this is a good question. For the SAT and ACT, are they online? Or are they in person? So they're in person. You have to go in person. The SAT is digital now, so you do take it on a computer. Um, the ACT is still pen and paper. So if that makes a difference to you, that's another kind of factor to consider. But you cannot take it at home. Not yet. Maybe someday. That would be cool. But also easy to cheat. So that's why you have to take it in person. Okay. All right. Number 4. We're getting closer. Okay. Prepping your application elements. So this is something you can start to kind of tick away at, or at least start to look at, and think about, but not necessarily do anything about yet. This is more about being aware of it. You can start doing things, but okay, so these are the different things that are going to make up your college applications, the different elements. And so things to get your hands on, look at, start to work toward, whatever. Okay, so the first is transcripts. So this is that nice, lovely document that says every class you took in high school and what grade you got on it. So basically keep working on that GPA. Make sure it's something that you're proud of. When you, yeah, write it down on all those college apps. There's still time to improve a GPA if you don't love yours right now. So keep that in mind too. But definitely make sure you're at your next appointment with your advisor. Make sure that you guys are looking at that transcript together. And even make sure you're getting a copy too of your unofficial transcript, especially after spring term. Once those spring term grades are in, you're going to need that transcript, that unofficial transcript, in order to type in all that information into your college applications. So, because you're going to need to write down every single or type up every single class you took, what level it was. So, is it a high school level class? Is it a dual credit class, which is going to be most of yours for Baker Early College? Because you get it looks a lot better. Course rigor is something you may consider. So the more difficult your classes are and the higher grades you get in those, the better it looks. So, anyways, but you're gonna have to write all that out, every single class, the level, like the rigor, the amount of credits, the grade. So you're going to need a copy of that transcript. Okay. So make sure you get a hold of that and make sure you're looking at it together with your advisor at your next appointment with them to make sure it all looks right and good and there's no surprises for you on there. Okay. Letters of recommendation. I usually encourage, it might sound a little goofy, but I encourage juniors to ask people for letters of rec or at least ask if they will write their letters of rec at the end of spring term. So this next, spend the next couple months thinking about who you want to ask to write your letters. And then at the end of the term, especially if it's a professor or even your school counselor, um, be asking them, hey, I'm going to be applying for college in the fall, and I was wondering if you would be willing to be one of my recommenders and write me a letter. That's all you need to ask is just, would you be willing? Okay, so I encourage to ask that in person during office hours or via email. Um, but making sure that if you do send it via email, that you get a response and they've said yes, right? And then once they say yes, you say, thank you so much. I will follow up with you in the fall about when and where to submit that letter. Okay. So it's as simple as that. Doesn't need to be a big conversation. You can make it easier on them by sending them something called a brag sheet. If you just Google brag sheet, um, a bunch of different like templates and examples will pop up. It's basically just like a little rap sheet on who you are. It's to jog their memory as they're writing these letters because they write a lot of them. So it's just to jog their memory. Like if it's for a professor, it's like here are the classes I took with you. Here are the grades I got in those classes. Um, and then here are some other things about me, just to jog their memory about like who you are, and give them some material to use to write about you. Um, so yeah, you can ask them to write it now and then hold on to it. That's one strategy. Like maybe they could write it while you're fresh in their mind. Like if it's a professor that you're not going to take a class with in the fall. And then that way they have it and it's just ready to send. But either way, you just say, can you write me a letter? Thank you so much. I'll follow up with you in the fall about when and where to send it. Okay. So yeah, think of two professors or teachers that either have seen you at your best or have seen you grow. Um, whoever your advisor is, and then I throw out this like one other person. It's good to have a recommender who just knows you a little more personally, not necessarily for college apps. They might not need that unless it's a private school. Private, like if a private religious school, there's a good chance you might need a letter of rec from like a spiritual mentor in your life, um, who can speak to that side of your character and your development. So that might be your other person is like a small group leader or a pastor or whatever. Or it might be a music teacher, or a coach, right? Somebody outside of those two teachers and school counselor. You might not use those for your college apps, but you very well may use them for job applications, scholarship applications, other things. So now is just the time to start asking. Um, yeah. Okay, this question. Do they not? So if your daughter has a copy of the letters, do they not count? She cannot be the one to send them in. And there'll be a little box, it's like a FERPA check box that says like, I agree. What does it say? Something along the lines of like, I agree not to see the letters that are being submitted about me. Um, that's they're trying to get away from you asking your recommenders to see the letters first, really just to maintain that authenticity and like lack of bias and influence. But as long as you're not the one sending them in, yeah, like your recommenders are not, I like to have, I suggest that they eventually get a copy of those letters from their recommenders to have on hand in case they are allowed to send them in to a scholarship application later on or a job application or whatever. Um, it's good to ask that recommender, like, yeah, can I have a copy? Do you mind me submitting this like at will to other opportunities? So as long as you're open with them about, yeah, I'd like to use this for other things. They may reach out to you, letting them know when you're using it is always good if you have a copy. But when it comes to the college applications themselves, it's not going to be legit unless the recommender is the one sending it in. It just needs to come directly from them. But that's a good question. They can still count. They won't know that she has a copy of them. They won't know whether you've had a copy of them or not. I've had plenty of recommenders right throughout my life. Send me the letter too, because I think it feels good to say like, look, I think you're great, and I wrote about how great you are. Like a lot of recommenders like to share their letters that they wrote with the people they wrote them about. So it's not abnormal. Okay, your activity resume, basically all the things you've done outside of your classes throughout your time in high school. So other than just getting more of these activities on your resume, your extracurricular resume, other than just adding more to your schedule, actually spending time writing out so far and as you do it, like what you've done, how long you've done it for, um, and kind of what your role within that activity was. What did you do? Did you earn any awards? Did you hold any leadership experience? Those kinds of things. I want to acknowledge that there's a lot of students out there who may not have the privilege to have this like robust activity resume. Like maybe you come from a family where your parents work and you have younger siblings, and your job after school is to take care of your younger siblings and and be their caregiver and their tutor after school, helping them learn, and their chauffeur to their things, right? Um, and if that's the case, I just want to encourage you to like reach out to me, reach out to your advisor. Let's find creative ways to word those and label those on your activity resume to make sure that you're being seen for the work that you've been doing outside of class. So, like sitting at home and watching YouTube videos, not an activity, but caring for others and your family, yes. So there's like even if it's not official and you're not getting paid for it, or it's not through, an entity, like a recognized entity, doesn't mean it can't go on there. So, anyways, um, reach out if you feel like I have something and I don't know how to document it. Okay. And then keep adding activities and what you're doing to that through the fall. And the best way to do it is really using a chart like this and having this saved somewhere that then you can input it into different applications. Like, don't, for the first time, don't wait to do this when you're filling out an application and then submit that application and then have it be gone. Because it takes some time to think through, like, what have I done? When did I do that? How many hours a week did I do that? Okay, right? So, because they're going to want to know all that stuff. So have it written down in like a Google Sheet or whatever, saved to your computer somewhere, or your drive, and then use it as a reference because you're going to input it in scholarship applications and college applications multiple times. Okay, so there's a template here that you can use. I have another one I'm going to show you at the end. I've created, oh, so this is an option, but I have this lumped in with another resource. Okay. Um, okay. So start writing all that out. You won't be sorry that you did it now rather than later. Okay. Essays is one that I'm going to say if you're a real go-getter, you can start writing some of your college essays. Is that wild? If you know where you're applying, and that they use the Common App as their application tool. The Common App prompts that was just announced are going to be the same next year as they were this year. So you can already look and see like because you're going to need to write a personal statement with the Common App. So you can see the prompts and choose what prompt you want to use for your personal statement and start drafting it. Why not? If that brings you a sense of joy and satisfaction that you're getting ahead, great. You can also do that like in the fall. Or in the summer when you're not taking classes is a great time. If you are feeling super unsure about how to write a personal statement and college essays in general, I love this resource. The College Essay Guy has an awesome website. He has a lot of resources that you can pay for, but he also has this great page that I've linked here with all his free stuff. So go check that out just to start getting an idea of like what does a personal statement and college essays, what do they look like? What do they read like? It's its own genre kind of writing. So start just looking into that, thinking about what you want to write about in your personal statements. Okay. I'm gonna plug to demonstrated interest because it doesn't get hyped enough. Demonstrated interest, if you've never heard of it, is basically your way of showing the college before you apply to it that you're interested in it. Oftentimes, colleges will say, the first time we ever heard from a student was their college application. And that's a little odd because if you're interested in our school, we should know that before you apply. So, the ways that you demonstrate interest, and they are factoring this in to whether they admit you. So, keep that in mind. Um, get on the school's mailing list, like go on their website and sign up for whatever mailing list, if it's for the school, if it's for the major you're interested in, whatever. Okay. Um, attend a campus tour if you can. They're going to see that you signed up and attended a campus tour. It's going to be in your file. Um, and if you can find out who your admissions counselor is at the school, which you usually can, and email them and just reach out and say, I'm really looking forward to applying to your school in the fall. I have a few questions. Then that's gonna put you on their radar and they're gonna even know your name. Like your admissions counselor is gonna be able to recognize your name on your application. Oh yeah, I've emailed with her or him, right? So the reason that this factors into your acceptance is the you're they want to accept people who they think are going to say yes to them too, right? Like they're saying yes to you, but they don't know if you're going to say yes back or if you're going to say yes to another school that you got accepted to, right? And so the more you're able to demonstrate your interest, the more they're interested they're going to be in you. I'm not saying this is like, like the deal breaker, but it factors in. Okay. So start getting on those mailing lists. Okay. Commenting on their Instagram posts, whatever. Okay. Making a plan to pay for college. I'm not going to talk a ton about this. We'll talk more about the nitty-gritties of paying for college throughout your senior year next year. But I just want to put it on your radar, on your mind, that there are things you can be doing now to start getting an idea of how much, once you know which colleges are on your list or you're starting to research colleges, you can research their cost of attendance. If you type in the search bar at any college website, cost of attendance, it's going to lead you to a page. They have to show this um, to get a clear idea of how much does this school cost before per year before any scholarship money, financial aid is added in. Um, I like to call whoever is helping you pay for college a financial sponsor. So if that's your parents, if that's grandparents, if that's godparents, if that's whoever in your life who has offered in some capacity to help you pay for college, now is the time to start chatting with them and offering a lot of gratitude. Thank you so much for the offer of helping me pay for college. I'm starting to think about that now. And really getting a clear idea of how much they plan to contribute to your college education so that you can start factoring that in. That conversation can be a little uncomfy for some people, but it's so important to start talking about it now. Um, Another thing you can do if you click here is complete the FAFSA estimator. So it's not the actual FAFSA. You'll do that next year in the fall. But you can kind of put in some basic info about yourself and your family and get an idea for what kinds of loans and grants you might qualify for. And you can already start applying for scholarships. So scholarships are not just for seniors in high school. Scholarships are available for everybody, including students who are in college. So you can start applying for scholarships now, and you can keep applying for scholarships the entire time you're in college. So it's not like there's kind of this big myth around like I have to apply for all my scholarships my senior year. But no, you can start applying now and just keep on applying for them. As far as where to look for scholarships, you'll definitely want to check with the schools that you're interested in to see what kinds of scholarships they offer. Keeping an ear out for local resources is great, like your parents' employers or your employers if you have a job, or organizations in town. Basically, the smaller the scope of the scholarship, the fewer people who can apply, right? And the bigger chance you have of getting selected. As far as scholarships that like most people can apply to, you can start looking around on some what I call matching websites where you input some criteria about yourself. You make a login, you input some criteria about yourself, like your GPA, your future major, your extracurricular activities, your faith background, your ethnicity, like all these different things. And it's going to start matching you with some scholarship opportunities. Oregon Goes to College has some scholarship resources. And then next year well, you can look at Oregon Student Aid now too and just get an idea, but they have some scholarship opportunities too. I post a scholarship every single day in our Instagram stories. So if you're not already following us on Instagram and you have Instagram, I even have a highlight where I just save them all. I usually try to post scholarships that are going to be not like super inclusive or exclusive, sorry. Like there's a scholarship that that only golf caddies can apply to. Like there's ones that are real niche like that. I don't usually post those. I usually post more like here's an art scholarship, like a scholarship for future art students or for future STEM students or for women in business or so I try to keep it or for literally anybody going to college. I try to post plenty of those too. Um, There are going to be, so I'm getting a question about, like some specific scholarships offered for specific populations. And yes, that's where those scholarship matching websites really come in. And I love helping students find scholarships. So if you want to reach out to me with like your criteria and just see what I can find, I have fun doing that. So email me or set up a time to chat. And I would love to do that with you. Okay. I'm going to call this miscellaneous to-dos. So those are the big to-dos, the lingering ones that maybe didn't fit in those categories, or ways to just continue to stay informed on to-do lists, really, is going to be reading the college and career newsletter that I send out once a month. I send it out at the beginning of every month, and there's a section in there that says to-do lists, and it's broken up by grade. So look at junior year, like to-do list, and it's going to give you a clear picture of here are like 3 or 4 things to do this month to make sure I'm staying on track and maybe even getting ahead. This is the checklist that I like, the big resource that I wanted to plug earlier. Okay. This is, if you really want to get a glance at the nitty gritties of senior year and what you're going to be doing, and maybe what you want to get ahead on. Like, for example, if you can, this is like if a student hasn't registered for the SAT yet, they need to be doing that by September at the very latest. So anyways, go to this, click file, make a copy, and just make your own copy, and you can start checking through month by month next year or getting ahead on some things if you want to this year. A lot of these things you can't do yet. Like you can request your letters of rec. You can, the Common App doesn't go live until August 1st for the next school year, so you can't start your Common App right now. So you can create your college list though, right? Um, I have other things linked in here too, like this application organizer, where once you do have your college list, you can customize this to keep organized on here's the colleges I'm applying to, when the deadline is to apply, what transcripts I need to send in and have I sent them in, right? You can edit all of this. Um, to just make sure you're staying on top of things next year. But I'm not going to focus too much on this checklist because just use it, just preview it for now and know that it's going to be available for you starting in the fall next year. Okay. Um, and then for now, I just want to say set up like a regular time to be thinking about college. Maybe it's an hour a week. Maybe it's I don't know. I don't know what that looks like for you right now, but making it consistent and um, committing to thinking about college, taking steps towards college, even if that's just exploring your interests, reaching out to somebody about job shadowing, spending some time looking through colleges, watching an episode of the college tour, right? All these things that we talked about. So it doesn't need to be a lot, but just a little bit at a time, and you are going to thank yourself from the bottom of your heart that you got started on these things now instead of in the fall. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stop there. Those are the five things. That's it, right? Remember I said by the end you're gonna call me a liar. It was a lot more than five things, but I'm so glad that you joined me. I'm gonna stop the recording just so that you guys can unmute yourselves and ask questions without being recorded.